2024 was a big year for PlayStation. It also wasn't really.
I love this game.
It marks the 30th anniversary of the launch of the original PlayStation back in 1994, but the brand also saw a lot of pushback due to a lot of poor decisions made and poor reception to things that Sony did and didn't do. People were already carpet bombing the PlayStation 5 for a lack of true exclusive games, since most of them launch on PC within months, and others still getting PS4 launches as well. This was expounded in 2024 when you could count the PS5 exclusives that year on one hand, and a fraction of those actually staying on the console for more than 6 months. Then there's the two biggest hits that PlayStation took in 2024, Concord and the PS5 Pro. The former being a game with so little enthusiasm before release and so few players after release that Sony decided to cut their losses, delete the game from existence, and plant a hydrogen bomb in the studio and make the resulting closure look like an accident. The latter being a mid-gen upgraded console far outside the acceptable price range for most people, especially in this economy. While this console is not by any means a necessary purchase, as it's neither a new console generation with new games, nor is it making up for any sort of terrible deficiency in the base model, it became a lightning rod of sorts for all of the frustration with how expensive tech, and especially gaming, has gotten. Sony pointing out that they have very little in the way of console competition, especially with Xbox seemingly slowly giving up on the console business, and therefore felt comfortable to price the PS5 Pro how they did, was also an admission to many that PlayStation was getting lazy and burning through the goodwill they spent so much time, effort, and money to build in the previous two console generations. Now, there have been some silver linings for PlayStation fans such as myself, even just from this year. Astrobot just existing, let alone winning Game of the Year on top of that, was such a huge victory, and that game is amazing in every way. Seriously, something I would recommend getting a PS5 just to play. There is also another game that I want to highlight that is something of a sleeper hit and a true PS5 exclusive game. Rise of the Ronin was released exclusively for PlayStation 5 on March 22, 2024. It was released and then quickly disappeared from the gaming radar, even for PlayStation fans. Why was that? Well, early spring 2024 was a busy time for PS5 releases. From February to April, we saw Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Stellar Blade, and Helldivers 2, which briefly brought political unity thanks to a common enemy, the alien bug menace. Or was it buggy crossplay servers? I can't remember. So yeah, Rise of the Ronin basically came and went. It wasn't just the time it was released, however. I think some other things that led to it being overlooked were the art style and visuals, which look like a PS4 game, and the basics of the story, which look at a glance like one very specific PS4 game. I totally get how a lot of people missed it, even in a slow year for the console. With all that being said, if you have a PlayStation 5 or are at all interested in getting one, or just got one because I told you to get one solely for Astrobot, I recommend Rise of the Ronin to all of the above. Rise of the Ronin is such a good game because it puts focus on the things that are the most satisfying. The combat seriously makes you feel like a Jedi, the exploration is fun, and the different levels and encounters are well designed to keep you playing. Okay, this combat is seriously amazing. I can't talk about it enough. I haven't played Sekiro. That's the closest thing I can imagine to think of how this might play, but the parry mechanic and rapid back and forth nature of the fights makes me straight up feel like a rap god. It's still challenging, but it's so satisfying to land the finisher after getting a perfect parry on a hit and blocking arrows and bullets. Hello! At one point, I was going to make a video about how the next Jedi game from Respawn should seriously take some pieces from Rise of the Ronin's combat, and you'll see what I mean when you play it. The game is open world, but it's well designed and it feels like a real living place. It isn't barren or copy-pasted all over. Exploring the world is so fun because you know there will be something exciting around every corner, whether it's combat or even special items or just the look of an area. I also really like the level design of boss arenas. They feel natural and with enough space to have these fights in. The story is not the most interesting thing in the world, but there are some parts that are intriguing, and I haven't beaten the game yet, but it's something that does keep me invested. Anyways, this got a little longer than I was planning, but if any of what I have said has interested you at all, give this game a chance. Especially if you're a fan of PlayStation, this game is something else you can put under your belt to still find new fun out of your PS5. And to hold you over before Death Stranding 2 comes out. That's also a big part of it.